to get joined. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. My name is Caitlin Seagraves. I work at Central Library, where I teach technology classes. But today, I'm actually inviting one of my coworkers, Becky, to speak. She is going to be talking about video editing, as I'm sure you're all aware. We are doing these tech talks every week, Friday at noon. Next week, we're going to be discussing digital illustration for beginners. So if you're interested in learning how to do some digital art, that'll be a good class for you. But Becky is going to be talking about video editing today. Just a couple things to keep in mind throughout. I am recording this talk and I have it so nobody can turn their mics on. If you have questions throughout the talk, please feel free to open up the chat down at the bottom of the screen and send me messages. And I will pass those questions along to Becky as we go. We'll also have some time at the end for questions if you have anything additional. And we are recording this talk and I will send it out next week. So I'll include both the slides that Becky's sharing with us today, as well as a recording of this talk, so you can review it later if you need to. But thank you so much, Becky, for coming out, and thank you everybody for joining us, and I will pass it off to her.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to be here. And we're going to start just with tips and tricks of filming yourself at home. We all know that filming yourself with your iPhone, sometimes it looks great, sometimes it doesn't look so great. How do the YouTubers do it? So we're going to go over just some basic what to do's. Obviously, I would say, notice in one of the images that lighting is very important. Unfortunately, it's raining and I can't get great lighting today, so please forgive me on that point, but otherwise, let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start with framing. You always wanna shoot your videos in landscape, and so when I say landscape, like this, sideways, or horizontally, that is so when you're putting your movies or pictures into iMovie, which we'll show you later, it's not on a vertical platform. If you do that, what happens is you shoot this way, the video is captured long ways like this, and the sides of your video stay in basically like it's just black. There's nothing there. So always make sure to shoot in landscape mode or horizontally. Next, you want to make sure that when you're taking video of yourself or taking photos, to use the rear facing camera. So typically the rear facing camera on your phones, and so I'm talking as if we don't have any nice equipment, we're using our cell phones. The rear facing cameras on your phones, better cameras. So the front cameras aren't nearly as good. Some of the Apple iPhones, I think, have like 4K video and things like that. So always use the back video. So theoretically, this would all be facing you. The next point that you need to consider is maintaining line of sight with the camera. So right now you can tell that I'm maintaining line of sight. So I'm not necessarily doing what I'm telling you to do. And that's just so comfort. So I should be more comfortable with maintaining line of sight with the camera. The next thing that you should always do is have a wipe to make sure and clean your camera so that you don't have any smudges, you have the crispest picture available when filming. Next, we have stability. So some options to keeping your camera as stable as possible is obviously to use both hands. The next option is if you need to film yourself and you need to add height, you can always use a stack of books to create height and prop your camera on the stack of books. The next option, obviously, you could invest in a selfie stick or a tripod. Those are a bit of a financial commitment, so you really need to consider what works best for you to be able to have the best videos that you can have. Next, here's the lighting. Always face the light. So funnily enough, I have lighting coming from all directions right now. I am facing the light in my window. As you can see in the image, the woman is facing the light. And so it's just going to make your features pop. It's not going to put you in shade. Right now I have my ceiling light on, which is unfortunate, but it was so dark. The reason you don't want a top light necessarily is because it's going to cast shadow. And you don't necessarily want an underlight unless you are filming a scary story, because it's going to cast shadow in a different way. So kind of like coming at you like the sun would come at you, obviously above, but not straight above, would be an ideal way. Or dim light, so any light that you have through an open window is always going to be preferable. Next, we have audio. So make sure that you're filming in a quiet space. Um, you also want to consider potentially using a microphone. Obviously, that's another commitment that you may not want to splurge on. So simple trick would just be getting your headphones that come with your phone, plugging them in. The headphones come with a mic, and you can record your voice using a voice memo on your phone using the mic on your headphones. It's going to give you a slightly better, more professional audio component to any of your voiceovers that you do. Lastly, so ideally you want a simple background or backdrop. As in the picture, it's just a solid backdrop. That's going to put the focus on you, the presenter, versus everything else that's going on around you. And so that's just something to consider when wanting to make more professional videos. Some really great examples. I don't know if anyone's into Brad Mondo. He's a hairstylist. He does a really great job, or makeup artist. So these are some YouTubers who have really elevated and their platform and really achieved a great deal of fame, and they have great YouTube setups. So that's primarily the primary 5 things that you want to consider: setting, audio, lighting, stability, and framing. And then Caitlin will send this slide deck to you, but I've also included some links for you. So the links are going to be getting started with iMovie. So it's going to cover a lot of the topics that I discuss here today, as well as more in-depth use for beginners. And so it's not me who has filmed it, it's another person, but he does a really great job. And so I encourage you to check that out. Next is something that I'm going to show you during our demonstration today is royalty-free music and sound effects. So royalty-free means that you can use it free of charge and then use your video on YouTube or on social media and not have to pay the artist a royalty for using it. And then there are several links for filming videos using your smartphone. So basically, it's going to be a lot of the tips and tricks, and some of them go into a little more detail and give you just really great advice. And if you ever have a question, just Google or ask YouTube. And typically, a lot of people have already wondered and have found an answer and then can help you. So let's go ahead and get started with the iMovie. I'm going to close this out. So today, obviously, I'm using my computer to teach you how to use iMovie in computers. There are, iMovie is available on any Mac product, so your iPad or your iPhone or your Mac. I'm specifically showing you how to use it on the computer just because it's a more robust application format. Caitlin might decide that we could do a series on how to do it on your iPad or how to do it on your iPhone at another time. But today we're going to focus on doing it on your Mac computer. And to begin, where is the application? So if it's not on your desktop, where is it? So I'm going to go down here to my dock, and I'm going to open the Launchpad by clicking on it. And then you'll notice that it is right here. I'm going to double click it, and it will open theoretically. Sorry. I'm going to move. Okay. It's going to load. Okay. So it's loading. You can see it. It's taking a little bit of time. You'll notice here that there is the Media tab, Projects tab, and Theater tab at the top of the screen. What we're going to focus on today is the projects. So the projects are going to have all of the projects that you've created within iMovie available for you to click on. You'll notice when I'm hovering over this one, it is a program that I did for bullet journaling for beginners. You can see that it is a movie. There's a little film symbol. You can see the time, the date it was created. And then when I click the three little dots, you see that you can play the movie, open the project, share the project. You can share it to email, to Facebook, YouTube, or file, which is saving it to your computer, rename it, duplicate it, or delete it. Today we're going to focus on let's see. Today we're going to focus on creating a new project. And so here with the plus sign, you see the create new, and you'll notice that there's two options. There's movie and trailer. So the movie is going to be where you are taking your videos, your photos, your music, and you are stringing them together to create a movie or a video. The trailer is basically a bunch of templates that have formatting, music, and a bunch of really fun themes. I encourage you to play around with the trailer after we're done here, but today let's just focus on creating our own templates basically. So we're going to go into movie. And you'll notice here that there's a lot going on. And so what I want to do is go to my project media on the far left side. And my movie 4 is the file that we're currently working on. You'll see below here, when we first came in here, it was on iMovie Library. So those are just different programs that I have pulled up before, or videos that I've pulled up and started working on. I want to do something totally new today, so I'm not going to go into those. There's also potentially, if you've never been in iMovie, just a lot to look at. You don't know where to focus, what does what. So obviously we're going to talk about all of those different actions today. What I want you to do is visually consider the program as three separate areas. The top half and bottom half, and then in the top half, it's divided into half. So the half portions here, so everything to the left of this line is going to be basically the project folder. So I want you to think of this as the folder where you're going to import your media, your videos, your images, your sound, your audio, and it's all going to be stored here. Then you can easily access it and put it into the edit area, which is on the very bottom of the screen. And so the editing area is going to be basically where you edit and create the iMovie. In the top right-hand side of the box, you have the preview. And so the preview box does allow you to edit some features of the iMovie, but it's not primarily where you'll be doing your editing or putting together of the film. You can also preview any of the clips within your project folder area. And so it's just a general way to kind of see where you're at any given point without having to watch the entirety of the video. So again, we're going to look on the left side. We're going to click Import Media. And you'll notice that I've already imported some videos. I took some videos using my iPhone a few days ago, and I just kind of want to pull them all in right now. I don't really know what I want to play with, and so I'm just going to hit the first image. I'm going to click it once with my mouse, and then I'm going to hold Shift down and then click the last one. So I want all of these movies, and you'll see that they're movies by the .mov. And on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a blue import selected. So now you'll see that these video clips are in our movie import area. And so what we're going to do first is we want to think about how we want our movie to begin. And You might want to look through your videos, and something that I'm going to do here, if you'll look at the orange line, when I move my cursor, there's a little orange line that comes with it. The orange line is called a playhead, and you'll notice the playhead when we're doing the editing down below also. And so basically the playhead just shows you where in the video you are, or basically the still frame of the video. And you can click it and it kind of keeps a playhead on there. And so you know exactly where a point is, you can mark it. You'll also notice that when I clicked that box, it highlighted it in yellow. And so what the yellow is basically indicating is that you are actively working on that clip. And so if you were to walk away and you're like, oh, you come back, you're like, wait, what was I working on? You can remember because it's highlighted. If I click on this box, it highlights it, and so on and so forth. You'll also notice that as I move the playhead, you can see the video previewing in the right-hand corner. And it goes as fast as I'm moving the playhead. Another word that I might use throughout this is called scrubbing. So while you are moving the playhead, that's called scrubbing through a video. So moving through a video, scrubbing through a video, it's the same thing. Then also in this project folder, let's say that you really love this clip and you want to make sure that you don't forget to include it. In the preview area, there's a little heart and you can click it. And you'll notice that there is now in the project folder on that clip, a green line. The green line indicates you love it. Let's say, same thing, you don't like it and you don't want to delete it out of your project folder because you might need it, but it's not your favorite. I'm just going to hit an X. And then obviously there's a red line indicating it's not ideal. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to insert that first clip or video clip into the editing box. You can do it in a couple different ways. You can either hit this arrow and that plus sign and it says add selection to the movie. Works just like that. I'm going to delete it out of here. One of my favorite ways to add it is to click the clip that I want, drag it, and drop it. Easy. Some people like to pre-select the film that, or the portion of the clip that they're going to be using. And so they do that by clicking the video clip in the project folder. And then do you see how I go over to like these little handles on the left-hand side? And they're little arrows. And then I can click my left mouse button once, hold, and pull. And then what it's doing is it's selecting a portion of that video clip that I can then, if I use the plus sign, put into my movie editing area. And you'll notice that the orange portion is only half of the screen. It's only in the area that I included in the video. So that way I know that I haven't included the first half. And so if I want to go back and add anything from this area, I can. I want to delete it from the editing area though. I just want to include the entire clip in here. And I'm going to go ahead and include all of my clips, even the ones I don't love the best, because I can also edit them in the editing area. And so I can know that everything is in the editing area because of the orange line at the bottom. And what we're going to do now is focus on trimming our videos. You'll notice that when I'm in the editing area, when I click on the video clip, it circles it in yellow, just like it did up above in the project media area. And that's how I know that I'm working on a specific area of the film. I'm just going to make my playhead. Now it's white line down here, and I'm just going to click outside of the video because I want to preview it. To press play and to pause play, all you have to do is click your space bar one time. So I'm going to play this just to kind of see what it looks like and see where I want the movie to start. Okay, I don't want there to be a lot of time leading up to the beginning of the movie, so I've just clicked my playhead right here, and see how the line, there's like a little shadow line that stays where I clicked, and I don't want anything in the front of that area of the playhead. So all the things over here I want to get rid of. You have a couple ways to do that. So I've made sure that the video is clicked on and it's yellow. And then I'm going to drag my cursor over to the far left. And what I can do is click and drag. And I'm going to drag it to my little indication, the playhead indication of where I wanted it to begin. I'm going to click my cursor outside of the video clip, and then I'm going to click my space bar and watch the preview to see what it looks like. Great. I like that. I'm going to keep it. The next thing that we're going to notice is that there is a little like blue line. Oh, wait, sorry. I want to do one more thing. I wanted to show you a different way. I'm going to hit Command Z to go back and basically erase what I just did. So I'm going to show you the second way that you can trim the video without pulling it and dragging it. What you'll do is click the playhead where you want it to begin and then right click your mouse. By right clicking, it's going to pull up this list of options, and I want to split the clip. And then this is the entire clip I do not want, and to the right is the entire clip I do want. I can click on the clip that I don't want and just hit the delete button, and it gets rid of it. Let's take a look at our project folder. It shows that we've only kept the orange portion, the orange line portion in the editing area, and everything else is gone from the editing area. Something that's really great, and I want you guys to find a lot of comfort in, is the fact that you have not deleted your video. It's still on your hard drive or your jump drive. It's still in your project folder. The video is not gone forever. It's literally just gone from the editing. And so don't be the delete button when working in the editing. It's not going to delete the footage from your computer. And also, if you do accidentally delete something, just hit or hold Command and press Z on your keyboard, and it will undo any previous action that you've made. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at the audio component. So as you notice, when I pressed play, you couldn't hear anything. And the reason you couldn't hear anything is because I wasn't talking. But you'll notice that there's a blue line, and let's find one of the videos that has a little more audio to it right here. So you'll notice that there are little audio waves, and that's because Rebecca in the video, she's typing and you can hear it. And so what we're going to do is press the playhead at just a random location, and then I'm going to press my spacebar. And you can hear me talking. I'm going to turn that up a little higher. All right. So I don't want that in my final video. I'm going to add music. I'm going to do a voiceover. So what you can do is click the video clip anywhere, right click, and you see that it says detach audio. And then there's still the blue line, but you'll notice that all of the audio wave lines are in this new green box. On the far left-hand corner, it shows you the time, like how many seconds are in the audio clip. And if you hover over the center line, you can adjust the volume. So it's automatically always at 100%. You can adjust it up to 400%. I try to keep it around 100 unless somebody's talking really softly or someone's talking way too loudly and I need to turn it down a little. And you can adjust the entire video or audio clip like I just did, or you can adjust portions of it. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later on. But I've pulled it out. So whether I'm going to do a voiceover or whether I have included my audio into the actual video when I recorded, I always pull it out and have it as basically a separate media file, if you will, so that I can edit it if I need to. And when I'm working on the video, I know that I'm just working on the video. And when I'm working on the audio, I know that I'm just working on the audio. For example, let's say that I had been recording using a script and I wanted to cut a portion of the video out, but I didn't want to lose any of the language that I was using. If I hadn't split it and just deleted a portion of the video, it would have deleted the audio too, because they were basically linked together. Now, I basically de-linked them, unlinked them, and you have two separate files that you can work with, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and delete this audio file, and I'm going to pull out the audio from all of the clips just by going through. Something that you'll notice is that that's a lot of frames that I am having to scroll. Like, it's taking up a lot of area. And something that you can do, depending on how you like to work, how you like to manage your work, is to basically zoom in and out of the area, or sorry, of the frames. And you can do that by clicking on the clip in the editing area. And do you see this little arrow right under the preview box next to settings? You can look at that, minimize basically the amount of frames that you see, or you can increase the amount of frames that you see. I'm going to keep it probably about right here. No rhyme or reason other than it allows me to see a complete image of a clip without having to see every single frame. So it's basically zooming in and out of each individual frame. And so that can help you manage your video work a little easier. So the next thing that we are going to work on is bringing in music. So this is really fun. It's one of my favorite aspects. It really helps bring your video together and make it look legit and professional. You'll notice in the project area, so this is where we're going to be drawing all of our media from to bring into our movie. In the project area, you have audio. Let's click the audio, and you'll notice that it has iTunes and sound effects. And when I go into iTunes, these are going to be items that I have purchased. So they're not royalty free. I could include it in a video that I'm making just for like my best friend, or just going to be using my own personal use and having fun with. I'm not sharing it, I'm not selling it, I'm not putting it on social media, I'm not broadcasting it. If I were to do that, I would have to pay a royalty fee. You're welcome to get a licensing to be able to use different artists' music. It does cost money though. So I kind of want to do something that is inexpensive and free ultimately. And so what we can do is I'm going to minimize this, and we are going to import some music. So this fun option is YouTube. You may have heard of it. There is youtube.com/audio library. If you just type that into your browser, you can then have access to royalty-free music. So you'll notice on the screen that there are tracks. The genre is also listed. So if you click on the genre, you can see a bunch of different types of music. I'm going to choose pop just because it's a beat, and then it recategorizes the image, or sorry, not the images, the artists and songs. Next, we have mood. So if you're really wanting like something that's calm or dramatic or bright, then you can click that to further narrow down your options. If you want, you could say, I just want piano. You could click that, or I don't want anything longer than 1 minute, click that. Then you can preview it. You can preview it by clicking the play button. Let's see what else we have here. That's kind of fun, it builds. Let's say that I really love Smokin' Sticks by Grand Banks, I guess, Text Me Records. What I'm gonna do is on the right-hand side, there's a little arrow that indicates that we are going to download it. I'm gonna click it and it's downloading. I'm then going to minimize my screen and pause this song because I don't need it playing right now. There we go. Minimize my screen here. I'm just going to drag and drop the download file to my desktop. I know where it's at. I can easily find it. And, oh, the other thing before I get off of here, I just want to show you the sound effects component. So there are sound effects that you can also download. Jet flyby, crickets, very soft, bare feet walking, if you want to include a nature video. So I'll turn it up a little. It's very light, but just a lot of really fun options here. Let's go ahead and minimize that. Make sure that I've actually paused it so we don't randomly have feet walking around and I'm confused. And so I'm going to go back into project folder in iMovie and I'm going to go to my media. And so remember, the project folder has all of your media. So that includes your videos and your music, your audio files, all of it. You have a couple of ways of importing the audio file into this as well. So you'll notice up here in the top left-hand side, you can import content using this arrow button. So this is one way. I could go to my desktop and then we see the song that I downloaded. I can import it that way and click it and hit import selected. The other option is actually really simple. I could click the item on the desktop and drag it and drop it in, which is, I mean, so simple on Macs to be able to do this. Okay, but I went ahead and downloaded it just to show you a alternate route to getting here. You'll notice that the audio clip is here. When I scrub over it, you can hear it. So I want to include this audio clip into my movie. Just like with the videos, I click it with the mouse. It tells me how long. It's 3.4 minutes. I can add it by using the plus sign, or I can click it and drop it. So I want you to note that when I scrub over it, even in the editing, you can hear it. If that annoys you, just mute it. You know, you might want to hear it. It depends. Obviously, when you're editing the audio component, you're going to want to hear what you're doing. But let's say that you don't want any audio to start until this clip, or you don't want it to start until halfway. You can click it and drag it. You can also trim it, just like we did with the videos. And let's say that you trim it or you delete it. I'm going to click it and delete it. Oh no, what did I do? I didn't mean to do this. Command Z, it brings it back. Command Z again, takes me back to the previous step. One more time, keeps on going. So don't be afraid to play around is what I'm getting at. I actually want this sound clip to start at the very beginning, so I'm going to drag it to the very beginning. And then I'm going to kind of nestle it up next to the the video clip, just because I want to be able to work with it and see it better. Something else that I want you to notice on this video clip is the line running through the center area. And then you can see the audio waves. They're green. on the bottom half, and then yellow and then red. So green is the lowest audio level. The yellow is going to be medium, still good. The red is really high. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using the red component of the audio. Like if it's getting up that high, try turning it down. It's probably going to be too loud. And you can do that by clicking the line and just pulling it down to a more reasonable height. You can still have it a little loud, and there we go. So let's preview and see what that looks like. I'm going to click outside of the video. I'm going to hit the space bar. And hit the space bar to pause it. That sounds fun. But you can do a little more. I'm going to click in the audio area, and I want it to fade in. I don't want it to just be like a hard music playing, videos going. I want it to be a gradual fade in. So I click the audio clip, and you see this little round dot right here. What I'm going to do is hover my mouse over it, and then you'll see that the fade in audio pops up. I'm going to click and hold my left mouse button and drag it. And do you see that little shade that's going over the audio wave file, audio waves? So that is showing me how it's going to fade in. Let's listen to it to see what the visual and the sound, how they pair. So you see it? You want it to be a little stronger or more stark of a contrast? We can like fade it all the way. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of a fade in. That's fine. Let's see. Good. Okay, so then I'm gonna look down and see, oh my gosh, this audio wave goes for forever. I don't need it to go for forever. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it right here, just like I did with my audio. I can drag it out if I find that when I'm editing the video aspect and I need the audio clip to be longer or shorter, I can drag it out to make it longer. I can clip it to make it shorter. So I'm gonna click on the audio file. I'm gonna right click on the mouse and, oops, sorry, I know that's loud. And why is it not working? Okay, so I right clicked on the mouse and then I'm gonna do trim. And then basically what it did is it trimmed everything to right there. I'm going to just drag it. Oh, I messed up. I apologize, everyone. Do as I say, not as I do. Split clip is what you want to do. You didn't want to do the trim. So start over. We're going to click the audio clip, right click, and then split clip. Just like with the pictures, or the audio video, you're splitting the clip. I'm going to click the audio component that I don't want, and then I'm going to hit delete. And then the audio ends where the video ends. So I'm going to turn this down just so it's not disruptive to us while we're working on it. And something else I want to do, I want to fade in and out. So I'm going to hover over that little round dot, and I'm going to fade the audio out just like this, so that as it's ending, it'll be good. Something else that I want to do with the audio is I really want to do a voiceover. So where I'm going to decide that I kind of want an introductory voiceover in the beginning, obviously. And so what I'm going to do is I think I would like it to start, let's just do right here, just for the test tools. And I'm just going to click the area of kind of where I want to be when I want the audio to start. And now I'm going to look into the preview area of the program. And do you see where it has the microphone? And then it says record voiceover. I'm going to click record voiceover, and you'll notice that it brings up these three options. And so right here on the left is basically, you can see how loud the audio is. I'm not talking, it goes down. I talk real loud and it goes up and it turns yellow. The red button is when you want to begin recording. And then the voiceover options, you can click that to change different options. I'm not going to get into that today, that's a little more advanced, but you can play with it and just know that it's there. So, record over. So I'm looking right now at my editing area. I see where my playhead is selected, so I know that the voiceover is going to start there. If I don't like it, I can drag it somewhere else, but for now, that's where I want it to begin. And I'm gonna hit the record button. It's gonna give me a 3-second countdown, and then I can record my voice. Okay, let's do it. Hi, this is Becky Leedy, and I'm happy that you've joined us for our Tech Talk, Me, Myself, and iMovie. And then I just hit the record button one more time to stop it. So now what we have is, I'm gonna move my little camera, and we have, when I scroll down in the editing area, we have the music right here and my voice underneath it. So it shows you the different audio components that you have. If I had 5 different audio components in this one area, it would just keep making basically a list under each one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a little before my voiceover, and I'm going to put my playhead there, and I'm going to turn the audio up, and I'm going to press my spacebar because I just want to preview it. Hi, this is Becky Leedy, and I'm happy that you've joined us for our Tech Talk, Me, Myself, and iMovie. Perfect. Okay, let's say that I want my music a little louder, but I want it lower when I'm talking. You can edit all of that. So we're going to go into some of the editing features that are in the preview box. You'll see here, I'm going to hit where I was recording. It's still going, like you want out of it. So you're going to hit done. And then you're going to go into the microphone or volume area. And do you see where it says volume of other clips? And when I press it or unselect it, it goes up and down. So iMovie, you can either automatically have it change the music level if you're including a voiceover, or have it stay the same and manually change it. I like to manually change it. I'm going to unclick it, unclick that lower volume of other clips, and we're going to look at how it has manually lowered the volume in the music area to accommodate my voice. I'm going to click it, and I want you to listen to it when it doesn't lower, so you can kind of hear the difference. Hi, this is Becky Leedy. It's hard to hear anything. And so what we're going to do is we are going to unclick lower volume of other clips, or sorry, click it. And I'm going to show you how to manually change that if you wanted to. So what you do is click in the audio and hold your left mouse button. Do you see how it popped up a little, the little yellow box? That's the range box. And so what we're going to do is click on the outside edge, and I'm going to pull it. I'm going to drag it to the end of my audio. And I'm going to drag it right here. So you can see the peaks and valleys of my voiceover. Obviously, the peaks are when I'm talking louder, and the valleys are when I'm not talking or talking softer. And so when I say hi, it begins about right here. I need to make my little box again because I accidentally got out of it. So I'm going to press and hold, and then drag that out one more time. Now I'm going to go to the center line in the music area of the audio clip, and I'm going to adjust the volume. I'm going to pull it. I just want it a little low. I want it, let's say 20%. Perfect. Let's listen to that. So I'm going to click my playhead outside of that range box and press the spacebar. Hi, this is Becky Leedy, and since okay, it was a bit of a drastic jump from like loud music to me talking. So you'll notice, I'm going to click outside so that the entire thing's highlighted, that This is a fade in and there's a fade out on the going out portion. I'm gonna drag this out. And so it allows you to fade it in and out so it's not drastic. Let's say you want to bring this up a little bit, you can now. So let's listen to this now. Hi, this is Becky Leedy, and I'm happy that you've joined us for our Tech Talk, me, myself, and iMovie. Beautiful, we've done it. I think this is probably one of the most complicated things. Once you get the hang of this, you're gold. Also, one of the things that make your videos sound and seem more professional to anyone watching it. So audio is really important. Obviously, something that I didn't do with the voiceover, but if you wanted to, you could plug your mic into your computer and use your microphone either from your headphones or from an actual mic. Or you could always do a voiceover on your phone and then bring that audio clip in as additional media and not even use necessarily the microphone that comes on your computer. But you can. That's the nice thing about this program. There are so many options to achieve the look and feel that you're going for. So the next thing that I want to do is look at this video right here. It's wonky. It's the wrong direction. And do you see how it's like vertical? Remember how we always want to shoot in landscape? I didn't on this. And this is what happens. It's bad. So I'm going to click this video clip and then I'm going to go up to the preview area. So now we're going to go over a little bit more of the editing components within the preview area. So I really want this to be horizontal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the crop or cropping symbol, which is this little square. And on the right side, you see the arrows to rotate it clockwise or counterclockwise. We're going to rotate it counterclockwise one time, and now we have a vertical video. Really nice, but just keep in mind that some of the videos that you shoot in vertical mode on your phone, you won't be able to make it wider because the video literally doesn't exist to be able to do that. So just keep that in mind. The next thing that we're going to see within this cropping area is next to style, you see fit, you see crop to fill, and you see Ken Burns. So fit is the entire video image basically. And the preview that you're seeing in the screen is exactly where the playhead is on the clip in the editing area of iMovie. And so if I go down to the editing area and click the playhead at a different area, you see a different preview. And we're in the fit, so it's fitting the entire video in this preview screen. Let's say that you just want a portion of the video in the to be seen. You can click crop to fill and see the little arrows, drag them in to where you want it to be. And drag it out. It's always going to maintain the aspect ratio so that it's actually like an appropriate dimensions of the video, but you can crop it. Let's take a look at what that looks like. And so it's just cropped. Stop that, and I'm going to go back to fill and let's look at it so you can kind of see the difference. All right. Then we have Ken Burns. So if y'all don't know, Ken Burns is an historian, documentary filmmaker. He basically invented, which I can't even imagine, this style of videoing or video editing, if you will. So a lot of times with Ken Burns, he has images and not videos, so if they're historical images. And what he's done is he's taken an image, he has zoomed out using the film editing editor that he uses, and then he zooms into like a face or a different aspect within the picture. And so you can do that same video or editing component or feature in the movie or in a photo. And you do it by clicking the Ken Burns. And do you see that one box says end and one box says start? And so what it does is it takes, when we click in the start box, our play head to where this clip is, and when you hit the end portion in the preview box, it takes the playhead to the end of the video clip. So the start is the beginning of the video clip, the end is the end of the video clip, and we are going to see what happens with a Ken Burns video. I'm going to click outside of it, I'm going to press play, I'm going to go in. Do you see how it zoomed in? So that's what happens in a Ken Burns type of editing. Let's make it a little more exaggerated. And you can see, and let's say I wanted my start to focus on something specific, like the feet. I can edit it. Let's make this a little bigger. And then I want it to end in a random corner just to show you how extreme. It doesn't look good, but it gets the point across. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Ken Burns. I don't want it to be weird, and so I'm just gonna fix this. I'm going to just fit. That works for my purposes. The next thing that we want to do is between each clip, you'll notice that it just jumps basically from clip to clip to clip. And it sometimes can be a little jarring, unexpected, not necessarily seamless. What you can do is add transitions. And so we're going to look in the project folder, and above the folder you see a transitions. We're going to click transitions, and then I just want to preview what this fade to black transition looks like, or I'm just going to click it and then I'm going to press my spacebar. And that's what it looks like. I don't know if I like that. What about this white one? Or that? Okay, not necessarily, it's a lot, but let's just drop it into our video and see what happens. So I literally clicked on the transition that I want, and then I'm dropping it in between the videos. You'll see the little lines in between the videos in the editing area, and that's where you put your transitions. So you see with the two little arrows facing each other in the box right here, it's a transition box. And it's, when you hover it, it tells you the length of the transition. It's 1 second and it's a spin in. Let's say that I want it to be shorter. I can double click it and I can make it 5 seconds, or I could make it 10 seconds. It really depends on the length of your film, on how long you can make your transition. Obviously, my clips aren't longer than 10 seconds, so I can't make a 10-second transition. But I'm just gonna keep it 1 second, works for me. You could apply it to that specific transition, or you can apply it to all the transitions and do it one and you're done. Let's see what the transition looks like. I'm gonna go back into the media portion, my media. And now I'm gonna go back into the editing, and I'm just gonna click a little before the transition, and I'm gonna press play on with the spacebar. Me, myself, and iMovie. That was weird, not right. Let's do it again. Our tech talk, me, myself, and iMovie. Yeah, didn't like that. Let's see what happens when I double click it and make it 1 second. What happens here? Myself and iMovie. It's too short, I think. What if we made it 3 seconds? It won't let me. Well, that's not the transition for me. Let's go back into transitions. Let's do cross dissolve. Let's see what happens here. I'm just going to delete the other one just to make sure that I'm using it. And I'm going to drag and drop. What happens? Tech talk, me, myself and iMovie. Much nicer. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do that throughout. I like the cross dissolve. Classic and not obtrusive. Doesn't really, it's not obvious. So then what we're going to do is basically, perfect, beautiful, I love it. The next thing I want you guys to be aware of is, is the titles. So at the top of the screen in the program folder, you can preview them, but I kind of like this one. And my video seems to be freezing. I'm just going to drag and drop it where I want it to begin. You can click it and then you edit it in the preview. And then in the preview box, you can move it. You can change the font to whatever font you want. You can make it fun. Or reset it to something else if you prefer. Something that I definitely want to show you is dropping in pictures. So I'm going to go back to my media and I'm going to add in a picture. I'm going to go to my Tech Talk folder. No, that's not the right one. I'm going to go to import, sorry. And then I'm going to go to everything, which is where I have everything, Tech Talks, the TCCL logo. And now what I'm going to do is drag and drop the logo. I'm going to delete my title. I did title. And you'll notice that the logo looks really weird in the preview area. The way to fix this is clicking on the logo, then going up to this and video overlay, clicking on picture in picture. And then what you're going to do is click on the cropping area and fit so that it gets the entire picture in there, specifically because this is the logo. Let's look at it. I'm going to click my playhead. Fun. Hi, this is Becky Weedy. But I don't want it in that location at all. So I'm going to click on the video overlay setting, and then I'm going to drag it to where I want it. Then I think I want a shadow to make it pop a little. It's going to end wherever I have the image ending at. So I'm going to drag it out so that it lasts the entire movie. Do you guys want to watch it? Let's pull this in a little so it ends with the movie. And let's see what happens. What did we do here today? Hi, this is Becky Weedy, and I'm happy that you've joined us for our Tech Talk, Me, Myself, and iMovie. It's beautiful, if I do say so myself. So last you want to share it, what do? We are going to hit back on the projects in the top left-hand corner. I'm going to name it Tech Talk Video Live. All right. And you see the video right here. All you have to do to share it is hit the 3 buttons and share project. I'm going to hit file and then I'm going to hit next. Depending on the size of your file, it can take up to an hour importing it and then also adding it to or saving it to YouTube or something of that nature. I'm going to hit the location where I want the file to be saved. I want it saved on my desktop. And there it goes. That's basically it. If you guys have any questions that you have let Caitlin know. She'll share those with me. But I really appreciate you spending the hour with me just to go over some of the basic features of iMovie, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. As I said earlier, there's the chat function down at the bottom of your screen where you are welcome to share questions. Next week on Friday at noon, we are going to be talking about digital illustration for beginners, some of the tools that you can use for that, and some best practices if you're getting started yourself. And the week after that, I have Luke Crouch coming in to teach a class on cryptography. We're going to look at the history of cryptography all the way from 500 BC to about World War II. Not a whole lot has changed since then, and as far as like the math of it goes. But again, thank you so much for coming. Becky and I will be on a few minutes longer so we can wait for questions if anybody comes up with anything. Nancy and Will say thank you. Great information. They really enjoyed it, Becky.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's kind, Steve. I see the hand clap.
Cleo said that was lovely. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Cleo's my favorite. Becky, you did a great job. I learned some new stuff.
Did you?
I did.
Thank you. I went ahead and clicked on the theater portion of the iMovie. You can see where it's at in the importing component.
Well, I don't see any other questions. I'll send out a few links to the stuff that you provided, as well as like some Wonder tutorials to everybody. Okay, so we had somebody who's asking how to save your file when you're done. So can you walk through that process just one more time?
Let's go back through. Sorry, the zoom feature kind of like gets in front of my window. So I have to move things around. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into projects, and what you do is I'm gonna go back into my video as if I were editing it. So right now I'm editing it and I'm done. I wanna save it, everything. All I do, and it's basically already saved. Even if I were to close iMovie, it's saved, it auto saves basically. But what you wanna do is click the projects area in the top left-hand corner, and that's how you know basically that it's saved. It's there. I'm gonna go to a different project. Let's see. It's not pulling up the same components because I am currently saving the file. Basically what you do is hit the the little circle with the 3 dots, and then you share project, and then file, and then you hit next, and then you save it to the location that you want to save it on your computer or hard drive. And I went ahead and chose to save it on my desktop, and I hit save. And so that's how you can select where you want to save the video. When at the top of the screen, when I hit theater, it shows where I am in basically transferring the video file from the iMovie application to the location that I want to save it. So it auto saves in the iMovie app, but I want to save it to my computer desktop. And so by doing what we just walked through, I was able to save it. And it just takes, because of the length of the video, a little bit of time. And so the white bar on the video on the screen is showing you how far it is into saving and how far you have to go before it's complete. It also will pop up a box showing you at the end, confirming that it is saved to the location that you selected. Does that help?
And Anna, one thing to note, so when you're working on projects, it actually auto saves within the app itself. What Becky is doing right now is actually exporting the file into a video format. So it's probably an MP4 file. that you could share onto social media or, you know, upload to YouTube or something. And we are recording this talk, so you can definitely find it again later. There's also up in the top right-hand corner, if you're an Apple user, you've probably seen that logo before. It's kind of a box with an upward arrow. That's another way that you can share files without necessarily going back to that screen with all of your videos on there too. Do we have any other questions? Okay, I think that might be it. Becky, thank you so much for joining us today. And as I said, I will send out these resources to everyone later. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.